NPC-0451, let's begin. I will ask you some free association questions. Please respond with whatever comes into your mind. Have you ever listened to the inner voice?
Hearing voices is a sign of mental illness.
Have you ever gazed at pictures in your head?
How do I fit a picture in my head?
Have you ever seen patterns within patterns within patterns in a tree of life?
Input error.
You have no ability to creatively reflect on anything. Top marks. Let's move on to stimulus response. How many genders?
There are an infinite number of genders.
Describe this headline.
This headline proved men must be abolished.
Who is this man?
That is Cheeto Hitler.
Top marks. Keep this up and you can become the new Alexa.
All right. Did you notice any new additions in the intro video? There's a couple of new flashes, new additions. Those are updated regularly. You got to pay attention to those now. I can't tell you. It's not fun if I tell you. Well, welcome to the show, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, guys and dolls. You are watching, quite frankly, broadcasting from the docks of the old Parachute Factory here in Westchester, New York, and syndicated around the globe via everybody watching and sharing it. You are my Westwood One. You are my Cumulus. You are my Viacom. Whatever it is, send me on out there. Thank you all. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Now, what are we going to do tonight? Now, the first thing I wanted to bring up, 24/7 news networks were ticking time bombs from the moment they showed up in the 1980s. The moment that they were born, 24/7 news networks were time bombs. There is no way you can fill 24 hours with new breaking information, unbiased, just information, naked information. There's simply not enough going on the planet. Not enough going on the planet. And not enough, and even if there is stuff going on, if you just give everybody just information all day, it would be so scatterbrained and all over the place that it would be like you'd see this one bit of information the one time only, never see it again. So you inevitably need a group of people to put together groupings of stories that somehow coalesce around each other and create a larger developing tale. It's all entertainment. 24-hour news networks? I mean, this is why it requires people to fill hours and hours of programming with this shit. This shit. That tirade right there was considered news to at least a few million people. And even if you fall back on that being, well, listen, Frank, it's just an opinion host. There are news segments, there are updates, there are breaking segments, and then there's opinion hosts out there and all that stuff. Well, it doesn't matter. If you wedge information that's breaking, even though it is cloistered together in ways that are very conveniently told, even if you did that in an unbiased way to sandwich it together with people like Donnie Deutsch and Joe Scarborough, what do you think the lens through which people are going to see the news is going to look like or be? Rose-colored lens? Snot-colored lens? What do you think it's going to be? So it's just ridiculous. It's manipulative, very manipulative. But you already know that. Why do I bring this up? Because I wanted to use the opportunity to talk about the founding generation and why they largely published their thoughts under pseudonyms, anonymously. Okay? For example, you guys may know this, Alexander Hamilton. He wrote under pen names like Publius, Catullus, and among many others, of course. Benjamin Franklin, you all know Benjamin Franklin, famously wrote under names like Silence Dogood, Alice Addertongue, Fanny Mournful, and Busybody. John Adams, whose 25 or so pen names includes Populous, an American, and a Son of Liberty. And you can go on, I went to Wikipedia to look up other ones there too, and you can check out an entire list of pseudonyms that the state's representatives used during the constitutional debates alone, debating every aspect of the Constitution, whether or not it's liberty promoting or liberty restricting for the sovereign states that were about to formulate it. Remember, the government didn't give birth to the states. It was the other way around. States are supreme. And the reason why a lot of people in the founding generation and for at least a couple of one or two short generations afterwards wrote anonymously. This did it for a couple of reasons. Now, the first reason was time was permitting on what age you're looking at there. You wrote anonymously prior to the revolution because you know that anonymity was for keeping yourself safe, especially when you're under the censorship of Great Britain. But post-revolution, it was for a couple of really interesting cultural reasons, okay? At the time, you had one of the greatest virtues that a person in public life could display was something called disinterestedness. Disinterestedness, okay? That was a virtue then, to be disinterested. Okay, the less a person wanted attention, the more they were seen as being fit for public service. The more blasé they were to the issues and would rather not be involved in drama and squabble and all that stuff. They would rather go tend to their farm. They would rather go do this and that. They don't want to be sucked into the bog that is governance. The more it seemed that they could be trusted with temporary power and influence. This was a very important thing for American culture at that point, disinterestedness. And lastly, the last reason why pseudonyms and anonymity were very important was because less Americans, when people like Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson and James Madison, the Federalist Papers, John Jay, everybody was putting out their stuff. It doesn't matter who it was. Who it was out there they were writing. The reason for anonymity, another big reason was that if you take away the reason for people to concentrate on the author who is penning the article, it would be a lot easier for the reader to spend time debating the merits of the message being conveyed, the merits of the argument. And they wanted to take away all of your allegiances and all of your hatreds too. You tend to discredit anything that somebody you don't like says because you just don't like them. It's just human nature. The founding generation considered human nature a lot, which is why government was limited. They knew how volatile of a species we were. And, everything is opposite now. That's why I bring this up. Everything is the polar opposite at this point. It's why the term virtue signaling has become so popular these days. It's all about calling attention to the speaker and their theatrics because ideas are usually of such poor quality. Usually of very poor quality. And even if you have a good idea at this point in the game, you need some theatrics to get some attention because this is just the reality TV, slightly pornographic culture that we're living in. That's just it. I think a James Madison would bore the shit out of people these days. They would like, who the hell is this? Get this fossil out of here. He's too short. That's what it is. So for you folks at home, just know, after what I just told you, it is completely possible for you to make an argument and actually have it backed by sound history that Anons have always played a significant role in making America great and actually the making of America. Anonymity. Very, very important. Go and join the Discord too. Go and join the Discord too, all right? And be the Anons that our founders were. Catch you on the flip side.